Welcome, everyone. We're going to do the pledge. Please remain standing for a moment of silence for one of our employees who passed away. Please join us for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic, one nation. Thank you. So tonight we're going to start with a memorial resolution for Mr. Dale D. Ellis, who was an employee of the school. Whereas Mr. Dale D. Ellis served as a staff member of the Tri-Valley Central School District, and whereas Mr. Dale D. Ellis exemplified extraordinary commitment to the students of the Tri-Valley School District, and whereas Mr. Dale D. Ellis passed away on December 29th, 2023, be resolved that the Tri-Valley Central School District extends its thanks to Mr. Dale D. Ellis for his service, and be it resolved that the Tri-Valley Central School District extends its sympathy to the family of Mr. Dale D. Ellis during this time of mourning. So we'll move to item number 4, which is correspondence, and we don't have any tonight. So we'll move to number 5, and that is public comment session for items that are on tonight's agenda, and we don't have anyone signed up. So we'll move to item 6, which is presentation and guests. And tonight we have a presentation of the theater lights from Assistant Superintendent for Finance and Human Resources, Mr. Bob Whitaker.
Okay, that's on. So I'm going to give you a quick run through of the history of this program, of what we're trying to do to upgrade our lights in the theater. This process started back in late 2001, discussing what might be possible in the theater lighting. So the original scope of work was in the estimate of $375,000 to $400,000 just for the equipment and materials, and the electrical estimate was at $125,000 minimum. In the original scope of work, there was this architectural control thing, which was really the state of the art, something you might see in the Broadway area. And that had such a huge variable in the electrical component because we weren't sure if we had the capabilities with our electrical system in place to do it. So the estimate was just very vague. You know, it's hard to put a price on that when you really don't know. So we did a lot of working and talking and trying to revise the scope of the project for something that would definitely improve the quality of our lighting in our theater, but at least was a known quantity. So the revised scope, which came back into being back in probably late of 2022, was $171,750 with an electrical estimate of anywhere initially between $50,000 and $100,000. We felt comfortable that we had a handle on the ability to do the electric and that the pricing that we had was going to cover what we needed to do. However, we have purchasing protocols that anything over $35,000 requires an RFP and bidding. One of the difficulties with putting out an RFP for this project was that nobody could really come up with the complete specs of it that were going to be easy to bid. But in our purchasing protocols, we have an exception to competitive bidding, where an emergency situation where a district building, property, or the life, health, and safety of an individual on district property is affected. Our opinion was that this theater, which can be a high volume place for attendees, what if we had a large number of people there and we had a complete lighting failure? We've all been in the theater recently in this time that we've seen some issues there. So in this language, we thought that we had an emergency situation that existed. However, when the board declares that there's a resolution that an emergency situation exists, we have to make the purchase at the lowest possible cost, seeking competition through an informal solicitation rather than an official RFP. This type of work is not something easy to find a lot of electrical contractors, especially local, that would be interested in working on it. However, after numerous attempts, More Electric, which is a fairly decent-sized company outside the area, made 2 attempts to get in touch with them and no response. Ross Electric, who we all, I think, are familiar with, who has done a lot of work for us and helped us out a lot, declined the quote just because they weren't sure that they had the ability to do it. Mel Electric, who is our project electrical coordinator, contractor, said, yeah, we can do it. So we had reached out. We had 3 people. Our construction manager from La Chase had high quality things to talk about Mel Electric during the recent construction project. Jesse Bell has always thought that they did a great job working. So Mel Electric supplied us with a bid, and we felt very comfortable with that. Moving forward, as you see, hopefully we can have a resolution to perform this next week or 2 weeks from now that we can do their bid. I think it was $74,900. One thing I do want to know is that the funds for all this work, this project would have had to be done one way or the other, but the genesis from this project was the awarding of the the ESSER 2s and ESSER 3 grants, because upgrading something for students was one of the protocols that you could use to spend the money, and enhancing the student experience was one of the protocols there. So that money is coming out of there. The local taxpayers are not paying a penny of that out of their tax dollars. Are there any questions?
I have a question. I appreciate the upgrade. I understand why we want to do it. I do have a concern with saying that it's an emergency situation. If you're going that route, would that emergency situation preclude use of the facility until the entire problem is rectified?
So my humble opinion, that the wording emergency situation, it is a gray, vague area. We are aware of the issues that are there. Anytime we're going to use the theater, we make the protocols that we can do best to make sure nothing happens. I know that a couple times we've had a couple small incidents, but to try to be able to move forward with our policies and our purchasing protocols, and not being able to, because this project, as I said, it started in late 2021, and to try to get the whole process, you've all been around for construction projects, writing specifications, bids, and everything else. This was the methodology to still do our due diligence, have 3 qualified contractors come and try to reach out and talk to them about it, but to also not to delay the process any further by having get a electrical engineer to come in, charge money for that, write up the specs for the program, go out and do that. So, you know, it's a little bit of playing through our ability to do that. And, you know, I appreciate your point of view, but we're just trying to make sure, not that we're hiding anything, just trying to make sure the process goes forward. Yes, because the specs are based upon the equipment. It's not based upon infrastructure. So the specs that we are working with now are based upon the lighting controls and the lighting and dimmer controls, which are, and excuse me, because I'm not an electrical contractor, they're well within the electrical service that we have. Yes. Yes. We're talking electrical components. You're familiar with the control area up there. It's more of the wiring that takes place from there. It's not a whole huge construction thing. It's more like, because I'm not heavily involved, I know just enough so I can get more information, but it's almost like making the connections, making sure the wires, it's not a huge undertaking upstairs, above.
Forward. I thought you had to have three bids, then you picked the one you wanted. We picked three contractors, got one bid. I say we should find some contractors that want to give us their opinion so that we know what's happening. Just three contractors and two did not want to bid, but three contractor pricing and see where that is actually. Bell might be the best one in the world, but you don't know that.
Okay.
All.
Okay. Okay. No, thank you.
Ross Electric didn't want it because of, you know why?
100% no. I know they're local. It's one of the first people we reached out to because they have helped us in other areas. I don't know the exact reason why they weren't interested. I can find out because I didn't talk to them directly. Jesse did.
I'd like to know why. Because they are in the business of doing this work, and they certainly have done jobs much bigger than that.
Right.
Getting to where the work is.
I'll have to find out. I'll inquire tomorrow. Okay.
And May, is there a timeline on that grant as far as expenditure?
9/30/2024.
When?
September 30th of next year. 9 months from now.
This year.
This year. Yeah, excuse me. I'm sorry. It takes me a little while to get from one year to the next.
And you mentioned 2001.
21.
No, you mentioned that's when this started, 2001. The problem, the way I took it.
No, I'm sorry if I wasn't clear. The initial conversations to look into this began in late fall, early winter of 2021.
Bob, do you have an idea how long the project repair will take? And will it interrupt?
Yes, it will have an interruption, not to shut the place down, because there's the two stages to it. There's the the electric work that has to be done, and then the bringing the system up in, which is BMI, who is the supplier. They come in and finish it up and get it ready to go. The actual electrical work has been estimated to take 2 to 3 weeks. But it could be longer.
BMI are the people who do the video?
BMI is BMI, right? BMI, BMI. BMI is the people who supplied the materials, and they are the ones that get your startup going.
That did a budget number, or is that could it be possibly higher than what else is done?
No, actually, he thought it'd probably be lower. But from my experiences working with them on this past building project, they, especially after phase 1, phase 2, they were phenomenal. They gave us, they did quality work. I mean, we've been very fortunate in my time here, the electrical contractors, Schuler, Haas last time, and Mel Contract, they've been excellent.
Do we have any architectural design on this? Another way of making sure it's being done correctly this time, and also the proper devices are put in, and the ones that are up to date?
So it's not, when you say design, it's not a construction it's a replacement of a current system. So there's not a construction aspect to it. It's an upgrade. I believe that you were here when the original theater went in, and it's just time to replace it. I mean, it's been failing. One of the reasons we're moving forward with this is over my time here and probably beforehand, we'd been able to provide Band-Aids. Well, the Band-Aids aren't made anymore. So it was time to move forward and upgrade. And like I said, we didn't go through the whole, which could have been close to $800,000 by the time we were done, but we've sort of scaled it back to something, this is what we need. It is an upgrade, and it will suffice us for the next 20 plus years.
I'd just like to hear a little more history of what happened. That's all. And I think there is somebody in the district that knows what happened and maybe can shed a little more light on it and make sure that we're going in the right direction because obviously something happened and somebody wasn't watching the hen house, and it had nothing to do with the present administration. It happened back a number of years ago.
Anything else?
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, moving to item number 7 is the superintendent's report from Erin Long.
Thank you. Good evening, Tri Valley. I want to wish everyone a healthy and happy new year. I am very pleased and proud to share Tri Valley's proactive approach to Governor Hochul's Back to Basics reading initiative that's been popping up in the news lately. It'll be taking place statewide to ensure that every district utilizes instructional best practices grounded in the science of reading. And so the requirement, one of them is that by September of 2025, all districts will need to certify with state ed that their curriculum, their instructional strategies, and their teacher professional development all aligns with these practices. So what's excellent for Tri-Valley is when the Tri-Valley Reading Committee investigated a system for our kids, they focused on the system that has those 5 key components of reading, which are phonemic awareness, phonics, decoding, vocabulary, and comprehension. And we purchased the American Reading Company's program because they are based in the foundation of science of reading. Furthermore, a big thank you to Maria Summer at Sullivan County BOCES, who worked with SUNY New Paltz to create an opportunity for our Sullivan County educators to participate in the science of reading training. Frank Snyder, our assistant superintendent for instruction, working with Maria, was able to offer the science of reading micro-credential to all of our teachers. My proud point is this. We requested 55 spots, more than anyone in the county. And as of today, we have 53 people that have signed up for this credential. That is teachers in both of our buildings as well as our administrators. And it just really continues to demonstrate our commitment that our staff has to improving their craft. Very proud of us. I do want to also share some significant improvements in our discipline referrals at the secondary level. Last year, at the end of December, there were 603 referrals that were written. This school year, at the end of December, there was 373 referrals. That is a decrease of 38%. And I credit many factors for that. We have focused our efforts this year to offer de-escalation strategies and professional development to our support staff, who are often in charge of our students in less structured settings, our teachers for providing rigorous and engaging instruction, and to our administrators that have brought a different style of leadership and student management to our secondary school. So while we still transition to continue to shift to a student-centered focus, I do want to celebrate the hard work that's happening daily and know that you are all making a difference. Finally, tonight, I want to send a thank you to Mr. Mike Sheely. As part of our 3rd grade literacy units, our students read many books from the Magic Treehouse series. And this year, to culminate their unit, the students wrote their own stories using the Magic Treehouse style. Mr. Sheely built us a Magic Treehouse, and it was located in our at the Hill. And our students went to the Magic Treehouse and read their stories for our other students. So thank you to Mr. Sheely for constructing that for us, and it was an excellent experience for all of our kids.
Okay, thank you. Moving to item number 8 is items the board would like pulled from tonight's agenda. Anything? Move to item number 9 is the consent agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the entire consent agenda?
Motion.
Motion by Rose,
Second.
second by Travis. Please proceed to vote.
Were the warrants included in the consent agenda?
Yes.
I have a couple of questions. If I'm too late, I'll bring it up after. Yay.
That is unanimous. Thank you. Be it resolved on the recommendation from the superintendent of schools, the board approves the entire consent agenda, categories 9 through 14. Moving to item 15, board committee reports. The first one, it's going to be, we have a couple, so it's going to be A through I. The first one, 15A, is policy review summary sheet as of 1/4/24. It is just for public information. Item 15B is policy 4321.12, timeout and physical restraint. Second reading and adoption. It is an action. Can I have a motion to accept the timeout and physical restraint? Second reading and adoption.
So move.
Motion by George,
Second.
second by Travis. Any discussion? Please proceed to vote.
Aye.
That is unanimous. Thank you. Be it resolved upon the recommendation from the superintendent of schools, the board reviewed and adopts policy 4321.12, timeout and physical restraint for all students, second reading and adoption. Moving to item 15C, policy 4321.12-R, regulation, timeout and physical restraint, all students, second reading and adoption. It is an action. Can I have a motion to accept the policy 4321.12-R regulation? Motion by Tim. Second. Second by
Travis.
Travis. Any discussion? Please proceed to vote. That is unanimous. Thank you. Be it resolved upon the recommendation from the superintendent of schools, the board reviewed and adopts policy 4321.12-R regulation, timeout and physical restraint, all students, second reading and adoption. Item 15D is policy 4321.12-E, exhibit, timeout and physical restraint, all students, second reading and adoption. It is an action. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Rose, second by Tim. Any discussion? Please proceed to vote.
Aye.
That is unanimous. Thank you. Be it resolved upon the recommendation from the superintendent of schools, the board reviewed and adopts policy 4321.12-E, exhibit, timeout and physical restraint, all students, second reading and adoption. Moving to 15E, policy 5300.55, code of conduct, corporal punishment, second reading and adoption is an action. Can I have a motion to accept policy 5300.55, code of conduct?
So move.
Motion.
Motion by George,
Second.
second by Rose. Any discussion? Please proceed to vote.
Aye.
As unanimous, be it resolved upon the recommendation from the superintendent of schools, the board reviewed and adopts policy 5300.55, code of conduct, corporal punishment, second reading and adoption. Moving to item 15F, policy 5605, student voter registration and pre-registration. Second reading and adoption. It is an action. Can I have a motion to accept policy 5605, student voter registration and pre-registration?
Motion.
Motion by Tim,
Second.
second by Rose. Any discussion? Please proceed to vote.
Aye.
That is unanimous. Be it resolved upon the recommendation from the superintendent of schools, the board reviewed and adopts policy 5605, student voter registration and pre-registration, second reading and adoption. Item 15G, policy 6710, purchasing authority, second reading and adoption. It is an action. Can I have a motion to accept policy 6710, purchasing authority? Motion by Pat, second by Tammy. Any discussion? Please proceed to vote.
Aye.
It is unanimous. Be it resolved upon the recommendation from the superintendent of schools, the board reviewed and adopts policy 6710, purchasing authority, second reading and adoption. Moving to item 15H, policy 8210.1, use of surveillance cameras on school property, second reading and adoption. It is an action. Can I have a motion to accept policy 8210.1, use of surveillance cameras on school property?
So move.
Second.
Motion by George, second by Rose. Any discussion? Please proceed to vote.
Aye.
That is unanimous. Be it resolved upon the recommendation from the superintendent of schools, the board reviewed and adopts policy 8210.1, use of surveillance cameras on school property, second reading and adoption. Now, last one, 15I, policy 9520.6, policy on the rights of employees to express breast milk in the workplace, second reading and adoption. Is an action. Can I have a motion to adopt policy 9520.6, policy on the rights of employees to express breast milk in the workplace?
Motion.
Motion by Rose. Second by Tim. Any discussion?
I did have a question. Do we have a break room for this purpose?
So we have more of a designated one at the elementary. We have private spaces at the secondary, but we don't have a designated room yet.
Okay, and in that room are there like separations if
Mhm.
multiple people have
Yep.
to?
Please proceed to vote.
Aye.
That is unanimous. Be it resolved upon the recommendation from the superintendent of schools, the board reviewed and adopts policy 9520.6, policy on the rights of employees to express breast milk in the workplace, second reading and adoption. We move to item number 16, old business. I don't have any old business, right? Okay. Item 17, public comment session for items that are not on tonight's agenda. I have no one signed up. Move to item number 18, announcements, reminders, and upcoming events. Does anybody have anything?
I just had a question for Aaron. Our retreat is next week?
Tuesday night, 5 to 7.
All right,
Is it
move to item number 19, new business.
Is it still too late to sign up for Allsburg board? I know it's the 22nd, I believe, but maybe mention that again to board
I think
members.
it's getting close. Norma, do you know, has the, what? Okay.
So if anybody wishes to go and think about it, we do have a good time. We meet a lot of other board members, a lot of from other schools. Very informative. Thank you.
Okay, we have item 19. We have two A and B. So the first one is the appointment of an elementary school substitute teachers / teaching assistant / teacher aide for 2023 to 2024 is an action. Can I have a motion to appoint the elementary school substitute teacher?
Motion.
Motion by Travis, second by Pat. Any discussion? Please proceed to vote.
Aye.
I didn't get anything. We got it? Okay. Okay, be it resolved upon the recommendation from the superintendent of schools, the board appoints Claire Verbert to the position of elementary school substitute teacher / teaching assistant / teacher aide for 2023 to 2024 pending fingerprint clearance. Moving to item 19B is the appointment of a cleaner 2023 to 2024. It is an action. Can I have a motion to appoint the cleaner 2023 to 24? Motion by Pat,
Second.
second by Travis. Any discussion? Please proceed to vote.
Aye.
As unanimous, be it resolved upon the recommendation from the superintendent of schools that the Board of Education at its January 4th, 2024 meeting approves the probationary appointment of Timothy Nash to the position of cleaner as per Sullivan County Civil Service Rules and Regulations, effective January 8, 2024, for a probationary period of 26 weeks. The salary for the 2023-2024 school year will be Step 2 of the Tessa Cleaner schedule, $16.10 per hour, 7.5 hours per day, 260 days per year, prorated. Moving to item number 20 is board comment session. Is anybody, Jim, anything? Brent,
I have nothing.
Travis, George?
Yeah, in reference to the warrants, just a question in reference to what's the retirement loan? It's in the warrant. What is that? It's about $6,000. I missed it at the time, so I wanted to bring it up now. Put it this way, one that I received. And another question I have, the interest income, it's in a number of places here. I'd just like to know, what investments does the interest come from? That's all I'm asking on that. And while you're looking, just want to say thank you to the timers that stepped up, Kayla Connolly and Christine Wright. We need that type of participation from our staff, and that's nice to see. Another thing I'd like to talk a little bit about, and I think Mr. Diamond did a good job the last meeting about safety and security in our schools. It is an issue. We need to be very diligent in looking at that because it does happen, and we don't want it to happen here at Tri-Valley. So if anybody sees anything, say something. This is your house, and keep it safe for our kids. That's the main thing. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Tammy?
I'd just like to express my deepest condolences to the family of Mr. Ellis.
Thank you. Rose?
I did just have a question on our school calendar. I was looking at the calendar I have at home, and I noticed that the day after President's Day said school is closed, but on our academic calendar on the website, it does not show that.
So we were able to extend the President's Day to 2 days, so it's a 4-day weekend. The academic calendar has been updated on the website, as well as the Google calendar that flows. It was not on there, so it should have been updated.
It's not on the academic calendar. I'm looking
Okay.
at it right now.
So on the website?
Yeah.
All right. I met with her.
It's on the events calendar, but not the academic calendar that shows like all the holidays and such.
Okay. All right. We will definitely make sure that's updated.
Okay. And while we're talking about the calendar, I did mention to Keith the other day, one of the dates mentions a Christian holiday. I'm Catholic, so like I wouldn't mind, but just as a public school, I thought that was a little odd.
Yeah. So the academic calendar, I'm looking at it right now as well. This is what I met with her about this morning. So she knows to update it. It just doesn't happen very quickly. She's got to put it in and it's got to reset. So yeah. And I agree. Took note on that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you. That's all I have.
Tim, anything?
Just real quick, George hit on the safety part. Obviously, I hope everybody in the room knows there was no school shooting this morning in Iowa. Another school shooting where there was signs, red flags, indicators, some social media stuff that needs to light up the bells a little bit or light up the lights for us. So again, we you guys are very diligent. Just want to just be a regular reminder for you that stuff's still going on, and unfortunately, it's probably going to be the rest of our lives. We're going to be dealing with it. So, on a more positive note, the state police graduation 2 weeks ago, we had 3 Tri-Valley graduates in the class, which is phenomenal. That is more than any school in the state for that class. It's just a testament to the work that's being done here. So congratulations to Matt Tierney, Caroline Martin, and Drew Hartman, who happens to be Travis Hartman's son. So great job. Good products that we're turning out here at Tri-Valley.
I just want to thank the policy committee again for, I know, pouring through all those policies and making the time to do it is can be a challenge, but we're getting there. So, okay, moving to item number 21, adjournment. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion by Rose, second by Tim. Please proceed to vote.
Aye. That was on the warrants that was for payroll. I don't.
Good night, everyone.
Haven't found it. It was a specific warrant for all the